My name's Colin, welcome to 4 Ounce Insight and happy belated new year to you all. As you can see, this is a 4 Ounce Insight on the road. I'm sitting in my car, mainly because I did a video yesterday and for some unknown reason managed to record it without sound, so you would have just seen my face flapping around. First of all, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone that watched my last video. It got over 120 views. Now in the YouTube world, I'm sure that's very, very little. In fact, I know it is. But it was humbling for me. It was truly humbling, and I managed to pick up a couple of subscribers. So thank you to those guys. Thank you for anyone that left a comment, and I really appreciate anyone taking the time. So I'm going to do some stuff this year. I'm going to try and make a bit more of an effort, but I'll leave that to the end of the video for anyone that's interested. So what have we got? We've got Teixeira Hill kicking off the 205 division. And isn't it funny that my last video was about the 205ers and my first video of 2023 is about the 205ers. This is an interesting fight, but not necessarily, not necessarily an interesting championship fight. Why is it an interesting fight? These are two good fighters. These are good 205ers, and we've got the old guard and the new up-and-comer. And from Hill's perspective, you know, he's just been plucked out of the middle of the division. You know, had a fight lined up. It's a bit of a Rocky story, you know, like Dana White picked his name. Now, we know why he picked his name. He's a bloody good fighter, and he, you know, he's a youthful fighter. He's newer to the division. He's had a good few fights. He has exciting fights, and, you know, I can see why. And then we got Teixeira, you know, who was going to get the rubber match against Yuri. That fell through. And here we go. Here we go. Now, this fight is very winnable for both fighters, although my instinct is saying Hill. And I'll kind of touch on that in a little bit. But let's talk about Teixeira. The story, in my opinion, of Glover's story has been told. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Glover's story has been told. His best years were not in the UFC, apparently. You know, in his prime, he couldn't get a visa into America. There was all these problems. The MMA community were talking about him before he arrived in the UFC. Joe Rogan couldn't shut up about the man. And he clearly a very good fighter. Walked into a division full of killers, and let's say, you know, it didn't pan out that well. And he fought all the top guys. And I think the MMA community, the UFC fans, everyone kind of agreed he'd just be a staple. You know, he'd hang around for a little while, he'd make some money. But this isn't a guy that's making a title run. And then he goes and does it. Do you know how amazing that is at his age? Now, his fight experience is off the charts, obviously. But he has taken a very different approach. Very different. Yeah, I think it is. You know, he's relying on his chin a little bit. It's what you say to young fighters all the time. Don't put your face in the way. You can't keep relying on your chin. We saw it with fighters like Chuck Liddell. They got to a stage where you literally only had to touch them and their lights would go out. Don't rely on your chin, especially as an older fighter. He relies on his chin. He gets rocked every single fight. And I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose. What I'm saying is he's not worried about it at the moment. He doesn't seem to be scared. So what's the pattern? He gets hit, he gets wobbled, he falls down, sometimes on his back, sometimes on his knees. People rush in. There's a slow scramble. It's not like popping and twisting and flipping. It's a sort of grab and a twist, and then there's a moment of panic, and he's on their back and he's squeezing the living hell out of them. You know, yeah, that's the only way I can describe it. It's like they follow him down, and then like a boa constrictor, he slowly recovers, slowly gets into position, slowly changes the angle, slowly grabs an arm, slowly grabs a neck. And you can see they're like, what happened? And they're tapping. They're tapping before they really realised what was going on. It's an interesting strategy, but not a long-term fighting strategy. And I guess if you're at the end of the career, you don't really care. Maybe, don't know. Hill, though, hits like a mad truck. Hits hard. Really, really hits hard. And it's, he's not just swinging bombs. Like, he's quite technical with where he's going to hit you and how hard he's going to hit you. Now, he definitely hasn't got the experience of Teixeira. He's got youth power on his side. And he's also experienced playing around in a jiu-jitsu specialist guard. Because we all saw his elbow flopping around from Craig's guard. But then that also kind of shows you just how tough this guy is. Because I'm trying to do this from memory. I don't recall him tapping. I very much remember the ref stepping in and calling an end to the contest. It was the bizarrest thing. I didn't know if his arm was broken. It would have been interesting if he'd have switched to an armbar and hyperextended that fucking thing. I think it would have bent in two. But yeah, both these fighters they're not quitting. They're not quitting if they can help it. Now, in this type of fight, I always try to look at, as a fan, right? This is the trouble. I love this sport, and I'm just like everyone else. I get caught up with individual fighters. Like, I become a fan of that fighter, and I want them to win every single time, and it can cloud my judgment. There's a reason why when Nate Diaz gets in the ring, everybody wants him to win, even though deep down we know he's probably going to get outclassed. But we know he's going to go down swinging like a mofo. So I allow my fan head, and I allow to try and look at it as analytically as possible. So who do I want to win? Who do I think is going to win? Kind of scenario. I want Hill to win. I don't think there's any more that Glover can do. I don't think his record will change anymore. Yes, this will be one more accolade to tick off. But like I said, his story's been told, in my humble opinion. Does he need that accolade? No. Does he want it? I'm sure he does. And I'm sure he's trying to feather his nest for the end of his career. And, bloody hell, he deserves it. I think Hill's going to be too much for him now. I think age is going to be a problem. I don't think Hill's going to fall into those traps. And I think he's definitely got enough power to switch the lights off completely. Not just rock him, but just out cold. 99 time. Also think it would be good for the division if Hill wins, because there's a lot of fights for Hill that probably not there for Teixeira. There are definitely, hand cramp. I'm holding my phone. I definitely think, there's going to be more people calling for that fight, and quite quickly, and more stories that can be made. Smith will say, "Hold on, I was supposed to fight this guy, and you gave him a title shot, surely I should get a chance," because that fight was already made. Craig will be saying, "I already beat this guy. Surely I should get my chance to jump up the division and fight this guy." And then pick all the killers in between. So I think there's lots more fights for Hill that are going to sell, because there's a bit of a story or a bit of a, or whatever. Teixeira's, it's going to be, oh my God, how brilliant or how well is this man doing at his age to win the belt again? And I'm not saying that's not amazing. I'm just saying, I have a problem with the 205 division. Go back and watch that video. It's flat. And I think it needs stirring up. And I don't think Glover's that guy. I just don't think he's that guy. So on the other side, what I would say to you guys is check out the first fight on the prelim. The guy's name's Bonfim, 13-0 welterweight. I'm pretty sure he's at 100% finishing record. I'm sure he's got, I haven't got my notes with me, so I think he's 10 subs, 3 knockouts. and roughly about 50% in the first round. Interesting fighter, look out for him. I think we might see him on a main card soon. Yeah, with 100% finishing rate, you know, he's a beast. Fought on the Contender Series, won by Von Fluchoke. Again, I think in the first round. So, interesting fighter. Definitely interesting fighter, so keep your eyes out for that. So, just to wrap up this video, because I'm freezing, I want to switch the engine on. What am I doing for the channel? Well, you know, just like all you guys, I've got a full-time job. I've got a young family, hence the fact that I'm sitting in the car park waiting for my daughter's ballet. You know, and I'm trying to create a bit of time to do more videos, to talk about some of the fun stuff, not just UFC. Cage Warriors is an outstanding organisation and really big for the European scene. But if anyone wants to know about PFL, Bellator, One, anything like that, happy to talk about it all. I also want to get involved in some of the news and headlines and some of all the good, fun, salacious stuff. I mean, we've definitely got Jones in Ngannou. That's a hell of a story that's kind of unfolding at the moment. So I've managed to create a bit of time, a bit more free time. So hopefully I'll get a bit more content out. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, if there's anything you think is interesting, as always, please use the comment section below. Even if you just want to give me your comments and talk crap. This video really, this channel is really about me just finding my MMA community. MMA's blowing up. I've been talking about it for a hell of a long time. And for those of us that have been watching it for a long time, you know, it was hard to find another fan way back when. And we, you know, you'd get to know someone who knew someone that watched it, and then you talk endless nonsense about it, you know, whenever you could, with most of your other friends staring at you going, why aren't we talking about footy? So yeah, really about just finding my community, finding the MMA community, having a good old chinwag about this stuff, because I love this sport. Thank you all again for watching. If you like what you've seen, thumbs up, subscribe, all of that other fun stuff. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Humbly again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.